Hello, and welcome to the Local Studies Library here at the Wiltshire and Swindon History Centre. I wanted to spend a little time just sitting and relaxing in this amazing environment to talk to you about top tips for dating old photographs. I've got a few examples here I'd like to show you and just to take you through numbers 1 to 10. So we'll start with number 1, and that is, can you identify anyone in the photograph? It may be surprising, but sometimes relatives and friends can help. Sometimes, you don't think that they know as much as they do about photographs. It's always worth having a chat with them and just seeing if you can find out. It'll be a fun experience too. It might help you learn a bit more about old times, and it might be enjoyable. This photograph we've got here is from Hilperton in the 1940s, a lovely family shot. Tip number 2, are there any discernible landmarks? Sometimes buildings can tell us much more than we think. Especially things like high streets, we can use sources such as trade directories to have a look and see when businesses were operating. Sometimes it helps. It is useful to think as well that not one tip is going to give you all the information you need. So look at all of my tips together and amass all the information, and hopefully it will help you develop a date that you're comfortable with and confident with. This example here is of Marlborough in the 19th century, or just at the turn of the 20th century. It's a postcard, and you can see quite a few buildings have got proprietors' information on them that might help with directories. Tip number 3, can you see any maker's marks? Again, you can use directories which will help show when a photographer's operating. We've got lists of this in our local studies collection if it's helpful for Wiltshire ones. And sometimes they have quite easy marks to understand on the back, and the more elaborate the mark can sometimes give you the date. Postmarks as well. So for instance, the last example I showed you was postmark. That can give you an idea of at least when it was posted, and so give you a general idea of a date too. This one is a carte de visite by J. Whitcomb of Salisbury in the 1860s. So my next tip is, what do you make of their appearance? Now, fashion can tell you a great deal. We've got books here at the History Centre that can help you with that and help you date things. But do be aware that not everybody followed the best fashion. Some old people would keep their style for many years. Price factor as well, not many people could afford the latest fashion. Accessories can be important, like this example here, the boy's belt. This shows you from about the 1920s, a family from Hilperton. And also hairstyles can be quite useful too. Tip number 5, is there a discernible event? Sometimes events can help date a photograph. So for instance, is it a young couple? Perhaps, have they got rings? Perhaps it was when they became engaged. Is it a young man in uniform? Perhaps it could have been taken when he enlisted. Maybe his uniform can actually tell you more about the history and which unit he might be in. And perhaps it was an event. Maybe a prominent person visited the village. Again, maybe local newspapers might be able to help. There's all sorts of little clues in the photographs that might be able to help you. And this is a wedding in North Bradley from the 1920s. And our next tip number 6, is interior design. So the contents of a room can also yield quite a few clues. This example here is from Eddington. And it shows, you can clearly see that the gas lights were still there. And so things like, at the History Centre we hold faculty records, and they should help show you when the electric was fitted. So there's little ways that you can decide and work out the age of building from the interiors or from the decoration, even to the flower pots that they use can give you a bit of a clue as to the date of the photograph. So tip number 7 is style. And certain styles of studio photography in particular were very common at different times. And again, this can give you an idea of the date. We have reference books here at the library which can help you too. This example here is a studio portrait from the 1890s. So at this time, pictures often included artists' easels, a coat of arms, flora and fauna, all sorts of different things. And even the position of the person, whether they're sitting or standing, can give you an idea of the date. Tip number 8, format. What sizes are photographs? What specific time period? It could be a studio card or a cabinet card. Again, as I showed you before, these were produced often at different times, so that can help you. And also the actual photograph itself, the paper it's made of, its size, these again can give you an idea of how technology's changed and the dates for this. So the example I've got here is a photo album. And we're looking at the flooding on the bottom here. So this is photographic paper. It's very thin and fragile. It's sepia in colour with a sheen denoting it's an album print, and that was common at the turn of the 20th century. So you can use these physical aspects of your photographs to help you date them. And certainly here at the History Centre, when we help people date photographs, the hardest thing to date is digital copies of photographs, because you can't actually see the original and it tells you so much. Tip number 9 is relationships. Do the individuals look related? That might give you clues. Are they working in service or in industry? Are they wearing any discernible uniform or badges, as I'd mentioned before? My example here, housemaids in Warminster, around about 1930, and it's just a lovely photograph, that. And my last tip number 10, is technology. So are there any motor vehicles present? And obviously that gives you an idea of the date of the photograph. But of course, do be aware, because the vehicles may not be new, so just use caution when you're estimating the dates for these. So for instance, this photograph I've got, we can date the van in the photograph between 1975 and 1985. And this is from White Parish, but that's about as near as we can get, really. The last thing to say really is remember attention to detail. Look at your photograph again, look at it again. Sometimes the small details can really stand out and make a difference. I would suggest you try and scan your image at high resolution, because that can really help enlarge the difficult areas, and you can see even more. There was one case where I had a drum and I could actually get so much more detail off the drum when I scanned it in. And keeping digital copies as well will help preserve the originals. Just a few tips about conserving them or preserving them and keeping them in the best condition you can. Always store them in acid-free conditions at a low temperature and in dry environment. As I'm doing, make sure you wear gloves when you touch your photographs. I don't know whether you've seen, but your fingertips are so acidic, it's particularly bad on photographs. So please be aware of that and just treat them carefully. We can give advice here at the History Centre if you want to contact us about dating photographs, about helping you preserve them for the future generations to enjoy. But I hope these tips have been useful, and have fun trying to find out a bit more about your details of your photographs. And please do make a note of the details. We have here, when we have a photographic collection here, and we have so many deposits that come into us, very kindly people donate. But it's such a shame you see all these amazing people and nobody knows anything about them. And even modern photographs, if you do happen to have printed copies, very soon, you know, they will be of interest in 100 years' time. But make sure you write on them, make sure that people know what's in these photographs so that future generations can enjoy them. And just use a really, really soft pencil, a 4B pencil on the back if you can. Please don't use biro because it just comes through. So just be very careful about how you do it. But please do, and make it hopefully it'll be a fun experience for you and you'll enjoy your photographs even more. Thank you.